How's it going, everybody? This is Dave LeClaire with MUO, and today we're here for a product review. We're here to look at the Nubia Red Magic 6 Pro gaming smartphone. We are going to put this bad boy through its paces. We are going to see if it is worth its $699 price tag, which when you hear the specs on it, you'll realize $699 is actually not too bad for what this brings to the table. So first of all, this has pretty much all the high-end specs that you're gonna wanna see from a phone. In fact, I would argue that the specs are a little bit higher than you might even expect for a $700 smartphone. First of all, it comes with 16 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage, which is quite solid for a $700 phone. It also features a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 processor, which is one of the best flagship processors you are going to find. It has 5G, it has all that good stuff, and it brings serious performance for gaming and anything else you're gonna throw at it. Now, in terms of real-world application of those specs, you are gonna have a hard time finding an Android app that this bad boy can't handle. We ran it through the benchmarks and it scored extremely high on every single test. In fact, it scored higher than just about every other smartphone that you're gonna find in existence. So, if you're looking for a phone that can handle anything, I mean, we're talking not just games. Obviously, this is a gaming phone and we will spend plenty of time talking about the gaming aspect. But if you're looking for a smartphone that can handle all the daily life stuff that you're gonna throw at it, having multiple apps running without ever having to worry about quitting them from the background, having spreadsheets open and videos playing and all this going at the same time, you're not gonna have any problem with that with the Nubia Red Magic 6 Pro. Now, of course, for connectivity, it has Wi-Fi 6E and 5G, including every type of 5G that you could ever want to connect to. So you're gonna be able to get that ultra wideband, that mid-band, all the different 5G connections, obviously assuming that you have them available where you live. You're gonna be able to connect to those, which is important for playing games because not only do you want a high-performing phone, but you're gonna wanna make sure that your network is keeping up with the demands of the phone, and this most certainly will without any problem. So as far as the screen goes, you're gonna get a 6.8-inch AMOLED. It's a 2400 by 1080 resolution, and it has a refresh rate of up to 165 Hertz. Depending on what you're doing and how much you wanna save battery, you can either set that refresh rate up really high, assuming you can find a game that actually will run at 165 Hertz, or you can crank it down to 60 Hertz, save some battery life. It's still gonna look really good, and it's just nice to have that flexibility. Now, that screen also has a 500 Hertz touch sampling rate, which is not the fastest you're gonna find on any gaming phone on the market. There are some that will go a little bit faster than that, but it is ultra responsive. While playing games, you will actually find that you do have an advantage over somebody who's playing with just a regular smartphone because your touches will be read slightly faster than theirs, which when you're playing a game like Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, anything where fast twitch reactions are important, that can actually be the difference between getting the kill and not getting the kill, which can be the difference between winning and losing. And when you buy a gaming phone, that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for that competitive advantage in games, and this one has that big time. It has Corning Gorilla Glass, so it is fairly durable. However, because of the fans, which we will get to when we talk about the cooling of the phone, it is not IP68 rated, so you cannot drop this phone in water. You do need to treat it with a little bit of TLC if you want to make sure that it doesn't break. If you're buying a gaming phone, your first concern probably isn't whether or not you could dunk your phone in water and take it to the beach for a swim, but it's still something to keep in mind that if you are looking for a durable gaming phone, you're gonna have a hard time finding one because most of them have ventilation, and when you have ventilation, you have open area where water can get into the phone. Now, as far as the battery goes, there's a 5050 mAh battery, which I found to be more than enough to get it through the day. Even with the 165 Hertz turned on, it was a little bit of a struggle towards the end of the day. I was running low, but it still managed to make it through. Unfortunately, if it doesn't, it comes with support for 67 watt fast charging, though there is not a 67 watt fast charger in the box. There is a 30 watt charger in the box. You'll have to buy the 67 watt charger separately, but assuming you have that, if your phone does die, you can plug it in, charge it up super fast, and you'll be good to go. Even if you only have the 30 watt charger, you can get a full charge in about 65 minutes, which when you consider how big this battery is, a full charge in 65 minutes on 30 watt charging is pretty solid. So you can definitely get a lot of juice in, get some more games in without having to sit there waiting for your phone to charge for an extended period of time. Or you could just play games while it's charging. That's always an option too. So as far as the cameras go, you're going to get 3 different shooters on the back of this phone, and there's going to be a 64 megapixel main shooter with a 1.79 aperture, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera with a 120 degree field of view, and then you're going to find a 2 megapixel camera on the back that also brings up the rear. As far as recording videos, you can get 8K resolution at 30 FPS and 4K resolution at 60 FPS, so you can actually get some pretty solid video performance from this thing. But it is clear that photography was definitely second in terms of the priorities here. This is a gaming phone. It is made for gaming. It will take pretty good pictures. I mean, the camera system on the back, it is decent enough. It also comes with an 8 megapixel selfie camera on the front, which when you compare it to like an iPhone 12 Pro Max or even a Samsung Galaxy phone, it's not gonna hang, but it will do the job well enough for taking basic selfies and even doing a little bit of live streaming. If slow motion video is your thing, you can get 1080p at 240 frames a second or 720p at 480 frames a second. So you can really drop that frame rate down, get some cool slow motion shots, and get things going with that, which if you're using this as a creative device in addition to playing games is something that may come in handy for you. So Red Magic OS 4.0 is based on Android 11 and it is included out of the box on the phone, and it is not a perfect Android experience by any means. There are some UI elements that seem a little wonky, and there's some places where the translation was done rather poorly. So if you're looking for something where it's going to be that perfect Android experience out of the box, this may not be the phone for you. However, it does have the dedicated gaming mode, and everything there seems very well thought out, well placed. The interface is well designed, and it's very quick and streamlined to get into your games, edit some of the gaming specific functions like the fan, the lights, and the trigger buttons, which we will talk about in a little bit. So that part of the OS is really good, but using this as your day-to-day phone, you may find that the Android OS that is installed on it leaves a little bit to be desired. Now you could install a custom ROM on it if you choose to, but then you're going to lose that dedicated gaming mode, which comes with that cool little switch that you can just flip, get into your games, get in there, access all the options that come with that, including the touch buttons on the shoulders, the fans, the lights, all that good stuff, which we will talk about. So while we're on the subject of gaming, that's where this phone really shines. I mean, as far as a gaming phone goes, you're going to be hard pressed to find one that is better than this one. As mentioned in the spec section, it is packed with every spec under the sun that is high-end. And we're talking about high-end RAM, high-end everything, high-end processor, all that good stuff, high-end GPU being supported by that processor. I mean, it has it all, and it has a dedicated gaming mode, which you can go into. You flip a simple red switch on the side of the phone, it takes you to the gaming mode, and in there you can flip through the games that are installed on your device without distractions from other apps for like work, because like, who wants to do work on their phone, right? This will take you to the gaming section. In here, you have options where you can access the custom touch triggers. There are 2 triggers on the shoulder. Unlike some other gaming phones, they are not physical buttons, they are little touch panels. I would personally prefer physical buttons, but the touch panels are still better than your standard on-screen controls, so you can edit those in there. You can also change the RGB lighting, you can change how much the fan blows, you can pair your accessories and work with your extra fans if you do have one of those, which we did for testing. The biggest praise I can throw on the Red Magic 6 Pro as a gaming phone is that I really do feel that you have a competitive advantage over other people using other devices. The fact is, you have a higher touch sampling rate, you have triggers on the shoulders which create a more console-like experience, you have a phone that is going to run better, it is going to stay cooler. You have advantages over your opponent. And if you are a hardcore gamer who really likes playing games like Call of Duty, PUBG, Genshin Impact, any of those more demanding smartphone games, that advantage is going to be something that you are going to really appreciate, especially when you consider that the phone is actually $700. It is cheaper than some of the top of the line flagships on the market. Really, the biggest thing I can say is that playing games on this phone is just fun. It just feels good to play games with those little extra advantages, knowing that like, ha, I got an edge on you, but it just feels good. It's a good gaming experience. I personally am not a huge mobile gamer. I prefer physical controls. I prefer to play on the big screen or at least on the Switch. But if I were to be a big smartphone gamer, I could totally see how this would be a game changer for you. Having all that extra control, having that phone stay nice and cool in your hand while you're playing for extended periods of time. Now, as far as keeping the phone cool goes, there's a bunch of different cooling methods going on here. You got your vapor chambers and fans with over 59 blades spinning inside, keeping everything cool. And all the marketing aside and all the different types of cooling methods aside, the biggest thing that I can say is that the phone never really felt hot. If you've played a lot of mobile games, you know that smartphones get hot when you're playing any type of graphically intensive game. Even with the refresh rate cranked up to 165 Hertz, which I couldn't really find any games that supported 165 Hertz. Most support 60 or at most 144. But either way, even with it cranked up all the way, the phone stayed relatively cool. It never was uncomfortable to hold. Even when it was warm, it was far cooler than any other phone I've ever used. So all that cooling stuff that they clearly invested a lot of research on, it has done a great job because the phone stays very cool while using it, and that is great. So there's really not a lot of negatives to say about this phone. It's just a good, solid gaming phone that seems like Nubia thought out all the details. The Red Magic 6 Pro has everything that you could really be looking for from a gaming phone, and probably some things that you never even thought of, like a 3.5mm headphone jack. Believe it or not, they still included one of those. So really, at the end of the day, I gotta say, this phone gets a solid 9 out of 10. It is definitely worth buying if you're looking for a gaming phone, or even if you're just looking for a high performing phone, it's worth considering. Once again, this was Dave LeClaire with MUO. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch this review. Hopefully you will like, and hopefully you will subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss another video from MUO. We got news, we got reviews, we got how-tos, we got it all. And I will see you guys in the next video.